The British Prime Minister insists on a controversial plan to stick with the UK's expensive nuclear weapons programme despite opposition from his coalition partners. David Cameron made the remarks after Liberal Democrats published reviews for a less costly programme amid harsh austerity measures. They described the government's £25 billion like-for-like replacement of the Trident nuclear weapons system as a, quote, Cold War system. They said the UK does not need to have a nuclear-armed submarine at sea around the clock. But Cameron says his policy will not change. Government officials have also criticised the Liberal Democrats for their proposal. They argue the plan would leave the country vulnerable to attacks in a dangerous world. Nargis Mobalaghi is our correspondent. She's with me now live from London. Let's get more information from her. Nargis, always good to see you. Tell us then, are the Liberal Democrats the only party, the only side that are against this plan?
Well, we should put it in context, really. We have the three main political parties, the Liberal Democrats, the Conservatives and Labour. None of them are saying to scrap Trident, and I've just been speaking to the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament in the last 4 hours, and that was their major criticism of this. They said, yes, it's a good step forward to discuss Trident, but nobody's actually putting the option of scrapping it outright, or in other words, a non-nuclear alternative. That's not being discussed. So what the Liberal Democrats have put forward is that they said when they joined the coalition that they don't want the issue of renewing Trident to be decided during this electoral term. It was a part of the coalition agreement to leave that for 2016. They've done this review, and what they found is actually they can't find a cost-effective alternative. Instead, what they're saying is, let's cut down our submarines from 4 until 2. So instead of having a submarine out in the sea 24 hours a day, let's only put it there when the threat is higher. That is still a significant change in nuclear posturing from Britain, and as we've heard, David Cameron's come out and rejected that outright. Labour's not saying much, and I think that's quite interesting, because going towards the next general election, we could see another hung parliament, and if we saw another hung parliament and there was a Labour Liberal Democrat coalition rather than a Tory Liberal Democrat coalition, the issue of Trident might be looked at very differently, and we could very well see Britain downsizing its Trident nuclear weapons, although I think we're very, very far away from the discussion of scrapping it altogether. But it's interesting that the issue of nuclear weapons in Britain is firmly back on the political agenda. This was something that 10 years ago wasn't being discussed, and there's many polls that say that most Britons would rather see it scrapped than renewed. Some of that, of course, is to do with the economic climate, where you're throwing figures like £100 billion out to a public being squeezed in their health service, in their education service, in their transport, really basically on everything. They don't really see why they should be spending so much money on these nuclear weapons. And you mentioned the key word there, Cold War. This kind of nuclear weaponry, these massive submarines, these high costs are seen kind of out of date now by many critics, saying it's from an era gone by, and there's better ways of dealing with defence in the modern world.
Thank you very much, Nargis Mobalaghi, our correspondent with us there live from London.